What is up, guys? It is Styx here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to level every skill in Oblivion Remastered as easily as possible. Keep in mind, for all of the skills that you have to AFK a bit for, you need to press an input whenever a box comes up on the screen telling you that you've reached a new milestone, which happens every 25 skill levels. Starting off with the combat skills, we have armor. The best way to level this one is really simple. Use repair hammers on all equipment you find, including enemies' weapons and armor. If you have the resources, create a disintegrate armor or disintegrate weapons spell in the Arcane University that targets yourself to farm it, or go to the Shivering Isles and start the Coming Storm questline, during which you get an item called the Amulet of Disintegration, and by wearing it, it completely disintegrates all your stuff, and you can use that to repair it repeatedly. Then for athletics, find a wall next to any body of water. On PC, you can press the auto run button to swim directly into the wall in a straight line so you don't move side to side until you hit max level, which might take a bit, so like I said, leave it there and acknowledge whenever you hit one of those milestones. Or on controller, you can use a weight or rubber band against your analog stick to hold yourself running in that direction as well. You guys might have an auto run now in the remaster, or you might not. I have no idea. I haven't played the console of the remaster yet. I've also heard that if you acquire a certain helmet, which I will put on screen now, roughly where it is and how to get to it, and then put it on and go under one of the ships at Anvil. I think it's the one on the right if you're looking at it from the docks, the one on the left if you're looking at it from out in the water. And you can find a little like head glitch spot there, and that can give you faster XP, but it's a little bit more setup required, so keep that in mind. For blade, blunt, and hand-to-hand, the fastest way is to stay with Baurus and Glenwen during the end of the tutorial when they're fighting the Mythic Dawn assassins outside of the room where you and the Emperor should be in. Just keep beating on them and they'll keep spawning. If you're already past the tutorial, then you can first watch the fist fight by the arena to get 5 points into your hand-to-hand, and then do the Grey Princess questline and challenge him after it's been completed. Now he won't fight back, so you can change the difficulty to the highest setting that you can do, either if you're using a difficulty slider mod or if you are trying to just use the normal and go on master. Then attack until his health is low, and then heal other to farm the skills that you need from him. This will also, to an extent, heal your restoration, which is nice in general. For block, heavy armor, and light armor, these all have generally the same strategy as well. The best way to level these skills is at the very start of the game in the sewers. If you collected all of the armor in the very beginning of the game, either the leather set or the heavy set, and one of the shields, there's a heavy and light shield, there is a pen within the goblin area of the caves with 3 rats inside of it that are all initially docile, they're non-hostile. There are also a ton of repair hammers within this cave, so you can get started on armor here too realistically, that you can use before and after. If you turn the difficulty all the way down to novice and then let them attack you, casting the minor heal spell every once in a while to not die, you can get your skill to at least around 30 or 40 depending on which armor set you use. Then when you get out of that area, choose these as major skills for your class, either as a custom class or whatever class you end up picking. You can get to Journeyman and almost halfway to Expert before you even exit the sewers, which would be around 50 to 60. After the sewers, if you start the Fighters Guild questline in Anvil, do the Rats in the Basement quest until you kill the 6 mountain lions, but make sure that all of the rats live, or at least as many as possible. Then sleep to let them regenerate, go back down there, and attack each rat individually at a difficulty where they won't die. Then turn the difficulty back down and repeat what you did in the sewers. This will eventually max out your armor and block skills, and all you need to do is make sure your stuff stays repaired, which if the rats damage you enough to break your armor or to where you think you're gonna die, you can just leave and then rest again and then come back and do it again. Now for the magic-based skills, starting with Alchemy, this is probably the easiest one to just level accidentally or to level as you go. You are mostly going to level the skill just naturally. My biggest recommendations is just while you're playing, pick all the plants you find out in the wild and use all of your alchemical ingredients instead of selling them. If you want an easy way to get all 4 of the alchemy crafting objects, sneak into the Gilded Carafe and steal 1 of each from her bedroom. You can get up there really easily, and then this ties into my method to level security as well. so stay tuned for that one. I think it's more towards the end because it's one of the stealth skills. A cheap way to get ingredients quickly, at least, is from Thorinir, because his prices are much better than the other merchants in the market district, and the feed bag, which is a place where you're meant to buy food. However, you can just use food as alchemy ingredients to make restore fatigue potions. In addition to that, there's a bunch of sacks in the middle of the market district, and you can find in total like 30 or maybe 40 food items, depending on how lucky you are, and that is enough to level alchemy really, really quickly. For Alteration, very easy method. Acquire the open very easy lock, find a lock that is easy or harder, and then spam the spell on them, and that's it. That's all you need. It'll eventually just level you up to max because it keeps trying to open the lock, so it gives you XP, but it never will open the lock. For Conjuration, if you have access to the Arcane University, just spam the low-cost Bound Dagger spell that lasts like 1 second. And then if you don't, summon a creature and run around in the city just casting it over and over again, waiting 1 hour whenever you run out of magicka. For Destruction, once again, if you have access to the Arcane University, create a damage fatigue 3 point per 1 second damage on self spell, and then repeatedly cast it on yourself over and over again. A pretty efficient way to do this is just stack an object on your cast button or make some kind of macro on PC. And then once you reach apprentice level, create a new spell of weakness to fire with the same stats of 3 point for 1 second. And this way you don't have to worry about dying whenever you do it. If you don't have access to Arcane University, you can level both Destruction and Restoration simultaneously by getting access to Shadowmere and then using him for target practice, basically. On the highest difficulty you are fine with putting it on, so Master probably. For Illusion, it's easiest to just spam a light generating spell repeatedly that you have access to. If you want and you have access to the Arcane University, you can create a Charm spell with a magnitude 3 for 1 second, making it so that it's activated by touch, and then just go to the nearest NPC and keep using it on them. It's not harmful, so they shouldn't attack you, and if you run out of magicka, just wait an hour. For Mysticism, cast any Mysticism class spell repeatedly, just any of them at all. Ideally, the spells with low magicka costs, or ones you make yourself if you have access to the Arcane University. It doesn't really matter what one you use them on, just be careful using them on friendly or non-aggressive NPCs, and if you are going to use them on friendly or non-aggressive NPCs, I recommend using Life Detect because it won't make them hostile. It's one of the only ones that won't, for sure. Finally, for Restoration, similar to most of the other magic, you just want to spam cast a Restoration spell. If you're doing this just on your own, I recommend Restore Fatigue. You can buy it in most places, and it will almost always be able to be casted and doesn't have a high magicka cost. This could also be leveled, like I mentioned before, with Destruction if you use Heal Other on Shadowmere while blasting with Destruction magic, or if you use that Grey Prince option. I believe you can do the magic there too. It's just normally you don't go there for magic, so I didn't mention it with the Blade, Blunt, and Hand-to-Hand. Now, for the stealth skills. Acrobatics, very easy. Find a ledge or roof or some object like a lamppost or something that won't budge, that is slightly taller than your character. There's one right outside the sewers, and then run forward while spamming jump into it, and it'll speed level you. For Marksman, buy an iron bow and a few iron arrows. Quite a few, really. And then go to Wayne Priory and find any of the 3 sheep in the corral, preferably one of the females. I think they have higher health. Set the difficulty all the way up, and make sure you have a decent restore health on touch/target set. Shoot as many arrows into one of the sheep as you like, they won't fight back, and as long as you keep the gates closed, they can only run so far away unless you corner them. Heal them as needed, and you have free restoration and marksman training. You can also, if you're planning to kill her anyway and take her lovely weapon and armor, use this same strategy on Umbra. She regenerates naturally, so no need for a heal other. If you do want to level your restoration anyway and use that though, turn the difficulty down probably to novice or a little bit higher depending on your damage output with the bow. Her natural regeneration is very strong. For Mercantile, you can find an item that both buys and sells for 1 gold. For example, the rusty iron dagger that you get in the tutorial. You can buy and sell this item over and over again, or just sell all items one at a time, including like arrows and other large stacks of items. And then remember to keep the haggle bar in a safe zone, so you want to be haggling a little bit, but you also don't want to repeatedly anger the person you're bargaining with. For security, find an easy or harder lock, push up on one of the tumblers, underneath the pushed up tumbler, spam the set tumbler button for like 5 to 10 minutes, and boom, you have maxed security. Just make sure to press the acknowledge button whenever it tells you hit a milestone. For sneak, this one you can do either as soon as you start the game or really whenever you want. At the start of the game, you can walk into the wall by your bed and use the auto walk or like a rubber band or object with your analog stick to walk into the wall. This levels your sneak and doesn't trigger that opening part of the game. If you're already past the tutorial, you can use the same method near door guards in the Imperial City or most other NPCs that aren't fully paying attention to you but are still in the area. You can also walk in a circle instead if that feels better. Just most people just walk into a wall because it's easier to control. For Speechcraft, which is our final skill, whenever you first talk to someone, make sure your weapon is sheathed. If you reach the character's maximum disposition using the minigame, and you don't want to have to find another person, you can exit, draw your weapon in front of them. This reduces their disposition and lets you play the minigame again. Then you can just lose a few times and then restart the technique over and over. A less deliberate way to do it, but will definitely still work, is you just constantly spin the wedge around in a circle while repeatedly spamming the A button. You will get the rounds going by really quickly and you will level up very quickly, and the NPC's disposition will constantly go up and down because you're doing it pretty randomly. It also appears that whenever you're doing this minigame, if you randomize what selections you pick instead of going specifically counterclockwise or clockwise, the game gives you more experience than otherwise. I'm not really sure what specifically triggers it or how to abuse it, but that is how it works. So that was how to level every skill in Oblivion Remastered very easily. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to let me know in the comments below and subscribe. Peace, gamers.